Hello and welcome to this divisional playoff round of the best football show. I'm Brian Baldinger. You can find me at Baldy NFL across all the social media platforms. Maybe TikTok will be in business next Monday. Who knows? But Instagram, Twitter, X, YouTube, you name it. I'm out there. You can find this football show on download your free Odyssey app, wherever you get your apps, and like it, subscribe to it, join us. I'm here to talk. I'm in the film room here at NFL Films, third floor, right in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. My home away from home. I'll be here all weekend, watching the games, doing the post game for the NFL Network down in our studio. So I'll be giving you all that analysis. I'll be doing stuff during the games, live as these games unfold. I've got TV screens all over the place. I've got replay screens. I'll have good breakdowns during the game. So I hope you watch and follow. But let's just get to it. Because I went back and I want to talk about Jayden Daniels because we're going to see Jayden game one, Saturday afternoon, 4:30, Ford Field, Detroit, Motown. It's going to be lit, no doubt. But you watch. And so, look, Detroit's a heavy favorite and probably rightfully so. Number one offense in football. Nobody denies that. Ben Johnson, top flight coaching candidate to be a head coach for the third year in a row. But when I watch Jayden Daniels, if you let this kid, and I don't mean to call him a kid in any sort of disparaging way. He's young. But you watch this guy with the ball in his hands and the game on the line. I went back and watched week 15 against New Orleans, 20-19 win. You watch him against Philly, week 16, down 33-28. All right, takes him on the drive, throws a winning touchdown pass to Jamison Crowder with 10 seconds to go in the game and the 2-point conversion to beat the Eagles after turning it over 5 times. As a group. And then the following week, week 17, overtime win against Atlanta. Goes down the field like ice water in his veins. I mean, he's got Grady Jarrett chasing him on third down, broken protection, outruns Grady Jarrett 16 yards, first down, keeps the play alive. And then hits Zach Ertz with the winning touchdown, 2-yard throw, man coverage. And then you watch him last week, 2020 game against Tampa, one big play after another on the final drive where Tampa never gets the ball back. They iced it, and Gonzalez goes out there and kicks the game-winning field goal. Like, if Detroit lets Washington hang around and they let Jayden have the ball in his hands with a chance to win it, tie it, take the lead in the fourth quarter, I mean, history just says, regardless of who he's playing against, because I saw him on the road in Philly in front of that crowd, didn't make a difference. The throw to Jamison Crowder against the first-team All-Pro linebacker, Zach Bond, was a dime. So that's something just to look forward to. He's remarkable. Let's go on to Houston because that's the second game. Houston in a rematch with Kansas City. Week 16, they lost 27-19 to Kansas City at GEH Field at Arrowhead. But when you watch them last week, you watch the secondary. They're playing without Jalen Petrie. They're starting safety. They've got Eric Murray in his place. He's fine. He's a good player, but he's not Jalen Petrie. But when you watch the rookies, Lassiter and Bullock to go with Stingley, I mean, I think it's the best secondary in football. They had the 4 interceptions last week, 2 by Sting. But the interception by Lassiter was incredible against Quentin Johnston. And like he played the ball perfectly, but they're sticky on the edges. And then if you marry that coverage with their pass rush, and that includes a lot of people. That includes, obviously, Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson on the edges, Danico Autry, inside, Derek Barnett in rotation. And then you add Aziz Al-Shire at linebacker and what he does in pass rush, whether it's pick stunts, Bob blocks, back on backer stuff where the back's got to, pick him up. They're really good. And they were a problem for the Chargers last week. They were a little bit of a problem in week 16 against the Chiefs. Like, this is a really good defense. There is no weakness. They've got their fat guys inside, Foley, Fodakanzi, Foley, Tim Settle, Mario Edwards, If you start running it on them, they'll go to a 5-man defensive front. You go to 2 tight ends, 2 backs. You go 3 tight ends. They're going with a 5-man defense line. I'll tell you all the counters that they do. They've got depth. They got playmaking linebackers, and they've got a lethal secondary. It's a challenge. It's a challenge for Kansas City. As good as Mahomes is, and we know he's 15-3 in the postseason, this is a challenge. Let's go to Philadelphia on Sunday afternoon. The Rams in a repeat. Week 12. Week 12, Philadelphia went out there, put up over 500 yards of offense. We know Saquon had over 300 yards of that total. 60% was Saquon. But you watch him, and you watch the Eagles last week, and you go, is the Eagles' offensive line, is it a blessing or is it a curse? Because here's the deal. 65% of Jalen Hurts' throws are off scrambles. And he has the blessing of staying back there and leaving the pocket, hanging in there. You see the touchdown last week to Jahan Dotson. He held the ball for 7 seconds. Now, fortunately, last week, he didn't leave the pocket. He just trusted the protection. Lane was awesome. Got an extra push on the outside against his man. And he gave him 7 seconds to find Jahan Dotson in the end zone. He was the only guy that wasn't plastered by a defender of Green Bay. So I wonder, because you go back and you watch the week 12 game against the Rams, and you see a throw to Saquon on the sidelines, and you go, okay, 11 yards, first down. Saquon did a good job keeping his feet in bounds. But on the play, he's got a stick route to Goddard for 5 yards on 1st and 10 in the red zone. Take the 5. But Jalen, who, to his credit, is taking care of the football. If you discount his game against the Commanders in week 16, where he got hurt, I think it was first quarter, but it was early in the game. If you take that game out, Jalen Hurts is 11-0 as a starter right now after a 2-2 start in a bye week. And he's thrown 16 touchdowns and 1 interception in those 11 wins. So he's doing something right, obviously. He's a winning quarterback. He's been in the playoffs 4 straight years in a row. He's 3-3 in the playoffs, including a Super Bowl loss. But if he wants to get his 4th win, it would be better if he could get the ball out a little bit more regularly on timing. Because let's face it, if you hold the ball against Jared Verse and Braden Fisk and Kobe Turner and these guys up front, they're good. I mean, they dominated the game against Minnesota. Are they better now than they were against, the Eagles the first time around? Probably. But Jared Verse didn't cause a lot of damage in that first game. Braden Fisk got a sack in the game, but he wasn't like they were steady pressure against this Eagles offensive line. But I do think that sometimes, because Jalen knows the protection is awesome, maybe the best set of tackles in football in Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata. You got a Pro Bowl center in Cam Jurgens. You got a Pro Bowl left guard. Mekhi Becton could have been a Pro Bowl guard. I mean, they're great. They're a great group, run and pass. But sometimes I feel like Jalen takes advantage of it and doesn't do things on time and on timing. And will that catch up to the Eagles? And will it be against the Rams if he decides to hold it and wait for something big to happen? Personally, I would feed A.J. Brown this game. He beat those Ram corners and man coverage time and time again the last game, and I think that's available for him this time. All right, let's go to Sunday night, because this has all the makings of one of those playoff games that you might be talking with all your friends or your wives or your girlfriends, whatever. At the end of this game, we might be talking about this game for a long time. It's just playoff classic. It has that instant classic feel to it. Lamar and the year that he's having, 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 900 plus yards rushing, just keeps improving, just amazing player. And then you got Josh Allen. Yeah, he would love to win the MVP, but he'd love to advance to the playoffs. And so here's the deal. We're going to talk about these two quarterbacks because we should, and we will. And maybe it is Obviously, the MVP voting has already been done. Hopefully, there's no leaks to it. It comes out at NFL Honors in New Orleans this year during the Super Bowl. What was that? Friday night NFL Honors. Anyways, you look at this and you go, the loser of this MVP battle is going to hear the same rhetoric that they always hear. Can't win a big game. Can't win in the playoffs. All this stuff. You know, Lamar loses. Who cares about MVPs? Like you can't win the playoffs. It's his, it's his Achilles heel, right? To go cliche on you. For Josh Allen, if he plays great and Buffalo loses, all they're going to talk about is Josh Allen is a great regular season quarterback. He wins a lot of games. He makes a lot of wild plays. There was a 2-game stretch this year against the Rams in Detroit when Buffalo put up 90 points and he accounted for 10 touchdowns in those 2 games. He threw for 5. He ran for 5. It's crazy. I mean, the stats and what these guys are able to do is nuts. Now, obviously, they can't do it by themselves. They need a supporting cast. Both teams, both offenses last week in the Super Wildcard round, both offenses ran for over 200 yards. Both of them have very good offensive lines. You look at Josh last week, converts 2 4th downs, huge plays in a game. 4th and 1, he runs for 3 yards, and then there's a 4th and 2, and he throws the touchdown to Ty Johnson in the end zone off a scramble drill. And it's a great throw and catch that really, was a big difference in that game. So I guess what I'm saying here is we want to see the MVPs. As an analyst, as a guy that calls games every Sunday for the last 26 years, all I want is great quarterback play. We get great quarterback play. The announcers should just get out of the way. Let the pictures do the talking. Let the plays do the talking. Because we're going to see tremendous athletic ability, tremendous playmaking ability, and both players have done a great job of protecting the football this year. Neither one of them have a combined double-digit turnovers. That is, lost fumbles and interceptions. Neither one. They're both under 10. It's always a benchmark for any quarterback. When you can put up 40-plus touchdowns, if you count Josh's rushes and his throws, he's got 40 touchdowns. Same with Lamar. So, anyways, the loser goes home and has to listen to the same nonsense, and again, for another 6 months, the winner moves on to Houston or Kansas City, and they get that opportunity to, win the Super Bowl and put all of the rhetoric away about can't winning the big games, because Peyton Manning went through it. He went through it at Tennessee. He went through it in Indianapolis. Great regular season quarterback. Couldn't win the postseason, blah, 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 until he did. And that's just the way it goes. You can't win in the postseason if you're either one of these guys until you do. And then finally, I want to just get to the coaching aspect in all these games. But 2 of these games are repeat games. Obviously, Houston, Week 16, went to Kansas City, lost 27-19. And in Week 12, the Eagles went to Los Angeles and pasted the Rams 37-20. But really, I mean, those are little blueprints about what teams might do, what they did do, things that they were good at, things that they can improve upon. Everybody has studied those games, everybody, in addition to all the games in between. Every team has done their diligence. They've studied the cut-ups, third downs, what the Texans like to do in their pass rush schemes. It's all out there. So then the question becomes for DeMeco, who's a heavy underdog, DeMeco Ryan, the situation with Sean McVay with the Rams, heavy underdog in Philadelphia on a short week, drew the short stick with a quick turnaround. What do these coaches do in the second time around to maybe not give them the same look, take advantage of things maybe the home teams are not paying attention to, and how they might be able to affect it and change the outcome in this playoff round versus the regular season? It's huge. Both coaches are extraordinarily qualified, and McVay obviously has got the Super Bowl in his back pocket. He's been to multiple Super Bowls with different quarterbacks. DeMeco Ryans looks like, last year he was the darling of the coaching ranks and of the hirings. Still has that opportunity. So that's the best football show on this Friday, leading into divisional playoff round weekend, starting tomorrow in Kansas City against the Houston Texans. I can't wait. I'll be right here watching it, breaking it down. I'll be here Monday, giving you all of my feedback from it. Hope you join me on Monday as we recount what we watched divisional playoff round weekend and who's headed to championship Sunday. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Look forward to talking to you on Monday.